righty, good morning, folks. Y'all know I got to give myself a couple of seconds to verify the sound, so I see a bunch of y'all are here. You can grab one of the chairs from the choir stand if you can bring it down. If not, I'll get you one later. All right, let's verify. Normally I have my little intro and all that stuff, but all right, so I got to turn myself up some. So I hear y'all on the live stream. Give me a half a second to crank this up. I hope I don't have to go that loud. Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, pull it down from there. All right, so good morning, everybody here in the house as well as online. If y'all can't hear me, please let me know. I am cranking it up, but let me know. I'm looking at the chat to see if the response is. And this has been, and see, Yanni, I need to get you on this media ministry stuff so I can get you running the cameras. So audio sounds fine here for me. And see, I'm so glad I'm in good company because all of y'all know. Are you serious? I was going to say, I thought the camera died too because of the storm. It wasn't coming up at first. But folks, we got a full house of folks here. I was trying to adjust the camera so I can get y'all in the shot. So we got a house full. We got some more people coming in. So again, thank y'all so much for being here. Now, again, don't try and, make the picture better than it is. I want y'all to be honest. Y'all know how we come in. How are y'all enjoying the first session that y'all have had so far? How y'all liking everything? Alrighty, so y'all know, most of y'all have seen here on YouTube and what we do. This is where we normally have our Q&A on Fridays where you can ask. Normally, it'll be ask me anything about media ministry, but look, we got a gang of people here, so it ain't going to be just me. Yay! So, I got the beautiful CFO over here. You got to scoot over because I can't move the camera at the same time. She's going to pop in here for a second. You going to say hello?
Hello. Hello.
All right, folks, so I do have the chat. I don't have everything set up the way I normally would, but I will be able to bring up your comments. I can see them here live at the live stream. So we are here. I'm able to pull up y'all stuff if you have any questions and comments. But like I said, I'm going to try and bring them up in the house. Y'all won't be able to see them. Or can I do that? I don't think y'all will be able to see it, but I'll announce whatever. So let me go ahead and just say, again, this is the 4ME Conference 3rd Annual. Normally this is closed off, but I am live streaming this to YouTube, so y'all are seeing this live here for everybody. So let me go ahead and give a shout out to some people. Springtrap, hello. Parker, good morning to you. Candace, hello. Anthony, what is going on with you, sir? Mr. Richard, how are you doing? Pete Andrews, hello. Grace Place Church, hello. Philip Paul, how are you doing? Tamara, hello. Darius, hello. Jason, the audio is too low. You still need me to go louder? Or okay, a couple of people said sound good. Awesome. So I did crank it up. So I'm looking at old comments. And yeah, so we got some more people that'll be coming on. But if you're not, I can't do the graphics like y'all know I normally would do. But if you ever have any questions I'm not able to get to, you know that you can email me at questions@ajholmes.com. Give me 48 to 72 hours to respond to you. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, go to Facebook, look up Modern Media Ministry Made Easy, and you will be a part of the 3,700 media ministries from all over the world, where our sole goal is to not live stream inside the group. If you got a word from God, share it somewhere else. That's not for the group. That's not what the group is for. It's for us to encourage everybody and ask if they have any questions from a technical so we can perfect our media ministry and move it forward. So with all that being said, if you have any questions, folks, know that you can use, please put a Q in front of it so it jumps out to me here. I can bring it up for everybody on the live stream as well as people watching remotely inside the house they won't be able to see it, so I'm going to read it off. So, again, we're taking questions online here. I will probably draft some people and give some people some mics if they want to answer some questions as well, too. So that's going to be open on live stream and inside the house. Tangela, good morning to you. Brother Art from Phoenix, Arizona, good morning to you as well. So if you have any questions, that's what this is for. And again, it's not just meant for me. We got the man, the Mr. Legend. Monty just popped in as well, too, dropping some serious knowledge here. Ty, good morning to you, remoting in from Wisconsin. Thank you for stopping by as well, too. So it's an open forum, folks, for everybody in here or online. I don't see any questions right now. Coach, good morning to you. Yes, sir. Hold on, I'm going to hand y'all a mic, and I'm going to see if I couldn't get my camera working, so I can't do the remote.
I don't need to be on camera.
All right, fire away. What is your question, sir?
How do you adjust the super source on the ATEM? The pictures are out of sync, and you can still see the background at the top when we look at super source, be it on the pulpit, and what's on the computer. So we could do the super source, say if, for instance, we have the minister and the scripture, and we want to show them both, but it's a half-inch line that's showing the background of the first camera on the ATEM.
Okay. So y'all know I don't have my full setup, but we do have an ATEM here. So give me a half a second to,
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You can plug that in for me. And I'll disconnect my, I will disconnect my laptop from there. Thank you. So the question was how to adjust the super source and everything like that to adjust. So one thing I would say, especially with all of your tech that you have in media, okay, it doesn't like me setting this on my laptop. One thing I would personally say, and I say this a bunch of y'all to where I've installed some stuff. How do I know the stuff that I do is because I've broken stuff enough times to figure it out. Meaning that y'all have to play with this stuff. I say this so the people that know who I'm talking about, I'm saying this in love. You cannot come into your service and think you're going to be perfecting your craft by doing the same stuff that you do every Sunday and not try to experiment. When she was like this big, I used to come here and dabble and figure out all this other stuff. So one of the things, and I'm trying to get, this is me stalling so I can get this stuff on the screen too. All right, let's turn that off so that y'all can see here. And I am going to move over my ATEM control so that y'all can see. And what screen am I on? There we go. So I know it's super tiny for y'all, so my apologies. And I really should have connected to the ATEM before I moved it because I can't see that. Connect. Wow, this is awesome. So I'm not able to connect to my ATEM to show it. But the main thing is in your super source, so that television studio that I'm using right now does not have a super source. So that's the old school one. So when you're doing the super source, and for y'all that don't know what the super source is, and you see y'all here in the house, y'all get to see all the stuff that normally I hide when I'm trying to juggle all the stuff at the same time, which is fun. So please feel encouraged that it's like, as much as we always do, we have issues all day long. That's just a part of media ministry. Media ministry is being comfortable with being uncomfortable because you just don't know when something's going to happen. So in the super source, that is the best way I can say it. If anybody watches sports, if anybody watches the news, you know when y'all have picture-in-picture, like you might have two people talking and then you have a lower third with the ticker and all this other stuff. That's what the super source will let you do. That's kind of like the ATEM Mini Extreme, the bigger ones, and the newer television studios, not the one that we have here. That's the Constellation, will allow you to do that. You have 4 boxes, upper left, upper right, bottom left, bottom right, and you can pick any of the inputs that are going into your ATEM, and you can place them anywhere. So if we go back to our math, you got your x coordinate, and your y coordinate, and you have size. So you can place them anywhere that you want. Also in the super source, out of all the inputs that you have on your ATEM, you can have them be in the foreground or in the background. So like when I do the welcome that we're showing up here, I have a graphic that's playing in the background. The super source will let you pick anything. So if you have your presentation software that's playing a graphic that's rotating, you can make that the background. You want a camera be in the background, you can do that. A still image, you can put it back there. That's the background. The foreground, you still have another 4 spots that you can pick anything that you want to put there. So for an example, what we've done is, well, I haven't done it here because we can't do it here, but like at Signs and Wonders and a bunch of other places, we have a super source so that in this scenario, the pastor's up here talking, we have one camera of that person. The front camera is faced on the person that is here. So on the live stream, they can actually see who's talking and who is being talked to. That all that is a bunch of coordinates. And again, my apologies for this is not working so that I can show you exactly how that is. But when I have a break, I can actually talk through exactly and show you without this hooked up so you can see it. All right, so if we could take a pause real quick. I'm going to see if anybody got, if y'all don't mind me doing a big favor. One of our speakers who I told you about that we asked her to enjoy her bed rest, she is online. So Rosalind, hello, thank you for joining. Everybody go and say hello to Rosalind, please. All right, we got John Cook online. Will you be answering questions, asking in the chat? Yes, I will. I'm pulling up the chat in the live stream as well too. I mean, on the conference one as well too. So give me a second to pull that up and let that go live, and I will be answering questions there too. Yes, and I'll repeat the questions as well too for everybody to ask. Anybody else have any questions in the house at all? And if you're online, please go ahead and fire off a cue. Yes, sir. Yanni, do me a favor. Go ahead and, if you can run and do that for me, please. Thank you. Yep, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Yeah, a question on, we get a lot of requests, like in service, there may be a YouTube video that they want played, but they want it also streamed, but that's against copyright laws, isn't it, and that type of thing?
Yes, that is correct. You are not allowed to play anything that you do not have a right for. So I remember Pastor Taylor one time, and it's a very popular video that's going around. Have y'all seen the video where it's the video called The Sheep Know the Shepherd's Voice? And it's an actual shepherd, and it's people at a field, and they're yelling to the sheep, and they ignore him. But then when the shepherd comes up, the sheep comes. So Pastor Taylor wanted to use that video. So for us to use that video, I had to reach out to the owner and ask for permission. You cannot use anything online that is not yours, you didn't create it yourself, or you don't have the permission from anybody to do it. Now, I have to be PC when I say this. If you ain't live streaming, technically you're not supposed to do that either. Y'all know it's illegal that if you take a hymnal and make a photocopy, that's actually illegal, but I don't see anybody kicking in doors to do it. But again, we people, we're supposed to be a peculiar people. We're set apart. So in other words, we got to do stuff right. So even though people do it, we're not supposed to do it. Yeah, now if it's in the public domain, that's one thing you have to be mindful of. Anything in the public domain, which is normally hymns in the hymn book, you can use, but there are bad actors who try to scare churches into thinking they can't do it. So I have one, like Good Shepherd is up the street. They get hit constantly because they say, oh, you're using Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace is in the public domain. But what they play on and say, no, we're copyrighting Britney Spears' version of, they're manipulating stuff. So just realize, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so please research this, but as a musician, you can just think with common sense. People will say that, oh, we're copyrighting the tune. When has anybody jumped out of a Tacoma truck or a police truck when you're humming a song and put you under arrest? See, I haven't seen MA16V3 online, so normally he gets after me when I get on my soapbox. This is my soapbox. We got enough people here so I can get y'all to buy in with this. The reason why the church is struggling so much with our media ministry is because we have forsook our responsibility in community. The reason why we got to play by all these rules is because the church wasn't at the table when the rules were being made. Because the church was like, I'm old enough that I remember the TV was called the One-Eyed Devil. I wasn't when it was the radio. I'm not that old. But I remember the TV was called the One-Eyed Devil. What that really, let's be honest, the real reason why people said that is because the church couldn't afford to be on TV, so they demonized it to make them feel good that they couldn't do it. That's the same reason why, remember this, before COVID, Facebook is the devil. COVID happened, everybody was breaking their neck to try and get on Facebook. So again, we just got, and I completely lost track of mine what I was just talking about because I just saw a comment on here. But the idea is when it comes to copyright, we have to know what we're doing. So as a musician, if I play like the choir is doing Fred Hammond's No Weapon, we can't play that track. If I play the piano on it, it's considered public use or fair use because I'm making my own rendition of it. Because think about it, if you couldn't do anything unless it's the original, no one would be able to do anything. So the idea is let churches be educated on what you can and cannot do. What you cannot do is pull up iTunes and blast the music. So I was playing music before here. But when I turned on YouTube, I turned the music off because that can't go out. You know? So just be mindful of that. And I don't want to drag that too long, but does that close to what you got? And go ahead, Yanni.
So in that same vein, one of the ministries that I work with, we have a pretty significant dance ministry. So of course we're using other people's music. We begin to look at purchasing the BMI certificate. How do we get that to our social media outlets so they'll know we actually have permission to use that music?
All right, so the question was that they have looking at getting a license for their praise dancers because their praise dancers dance tracks and things like that, and how to put that out to the platforms. The real answer to that, Facebook and YouTube are crap. That's the best way I can say it. Their monetization systems were set up so that they can pass the buck and the blame to you. Because if Facebook or YouTube were involved, they are saying we're just a service. We are not responsible for what people put on our service. That's them saying we're not going to get involved with any stuff that people do illegally. So with that being said, they did not put in the effort to really secure what's going on. And I'm circling around to what you're saying. Because if they had the monetization system, there would be no way that a company in Pakistan claims ownership of Lift Every Voice and Sing. If their system that flags us for doing something illegal was right, it wouldn't have been allowed to have false stuff be registered. Right now, any of y'all can go and register every single song on the face of the planet on YouTube and Facebook, unless it's some big star like Beyonce or something like that, and they will allow you because they do not vet, do you actually own the stuff that you're doing? That's why it's making crazy. That's why I need y'all to be educated when people start flagging your stuff. Look up who's flagging it and see who actually owns the song. Most of the time, it's not the same people. So they're conning you on that stuff. So from what I do for the songs, like when we had praise dancers here, what I did is when I was playing the music, I would ask the praise dancers, what song are you doing? And we played it live as best as we possibly can with the full band. That gets us back around to what we just talked about. If you have to play the track, I kill the audio on the live stream and I put up an announcement saying copyrighted audio is being played. Audio will resume when this is over. Still play it in the house, but everybody online can't hear it. That's your way around it. Now, back to your license stuff. It's good that you get a license, but we people. And let me use bad English. We's people. And we's people don't work together. Meaning that you could buy one license, you will never get every Christian artist to be under one license. So you get one license, you may get some of your music, but all the other music is not going to be covered. That's the unfortunate thing of that. So instead of telling people to buy multiple licenses, I'm more of, if you have the ability, get it done live by your band, or get Fruition Music does instrumental tracks that include a license. They already have a license to use it, and they give you a license to use that song. Use that if possible. That's the best way around it. Other than that, if you want to do it live, kill the audio that's going to the live stream, keep it live inside the house. That's the way. So let me see. I'm not seeing anybody online with any questions. Let me look over at the chat in the conference. Now, again, we got some wise people in here. We got the A-flat master, Dominic, in here. So, I mean, look, we can crank it up if you want to get on. Let me see. There's a website issues. All right, it looks like some people are saying they're having some issues on the website. We'll work on that. Mr. Talley from Baltimore is saying, is the only control for volume found on the ATEM for Zoom and YouTube? That depends on your setup. So I know his setup, similar to how I have it here, we have our mixer that has our traditional sound inside the house. And this goes, I'm liking all these questions are building off of each other. So we have the house sound. And we normally set up your live stream as an aux mix. And that allows you, kind of like what we just said, the aux mix will allow us to turn off the audio, any mic, to that mix, but it stays in the house. So back to what Mr. Talley was asking, the question is, yes, you can control the audio in the ATEM. So the ATEM has an overall audio volume that you can turn up, but it's being fed from the mixer. And I tell y'all all the time, I'm a simple person. You already got a video mixer, let that handle video. You got a mixer that handles audio, let that handle audio. Meaning that I'm not going into Zoom and ATEM and the computer to adjust audio. I just make sure that the audio can get to it, and I make all the adjustments from the mixer. Because our whole goal is for us not to be the only ones that run our media ministry. So if you know, okay, I got to smack this on the side twice, and I got to do 2 jumping jacks to make the audio right. Do you have that written down to make that repeatable to other people? Or is it, this is the fader for the live stream audio, turn that up and down? So to Mr. Talley, the way I have you set up, the only reason why you would adjust the ATEM volume and the Zoom volume is because somebody's touched it. Normally, I keep the Zoom, and even here at Antioch, when I set their stuff up, the volume is set, the live stream volume is set, the OBS volume is set. If there's an issue, they adjust it from the mixer. No one touches OBS, the ATEM, or anything like that. That's a sure sign that your audio is messed up if somebody is touching that stuff. I mean, just from a training standpoint, as a leader in media ministry, our responsibility, any leader, is to make complex things simple. So as a leader, your responsibility is to dig in and read those manuals. Y'all are the ones here learning. Y'all are the ones to do that, and you need to translate this into something that's easily digestible to the people who did not come by choice or not able to. We need to compartmentalize what we have so that everybody else can learn it, so that you're not the go-to person every single Sunday, and you can take a vacation on occasion. All righty. Sam here, I can bring this up on the live stream. Their question was, were we supposed to receive an email with links to join the conference? No. When you logged in, and you made your account, once you log back into the website, you will see a new tab to the right that says attendees, and it has conference. And that gives you, so it was no new link. Once you got through everything, it will show. If anybody who is on the YouTube live stream and you're having an issue with the conference, please email info@4meconference.com, and we will sort out any other stuff. I had a couple of people forgot their passwords. We had to reset that. But there's no new email that would go through. Mom's video here wants to know, can I use or can I see PTZ cameras and a controller connected to a switch that is plugged in for power but not connected to the internet? Let me repeat that because I need to digest that again. Can I use or can I see a PTZ camera, like the one I have right here, that can be connected to a controller, that is plugged into power but not connected to the internet? Yes. Yes, you can, because all of these devices in anybody else's church that I've set up, I actually set that up by default, meaning that this joystick that I have right here, I can set a static IP address to that camera and set the camera as a static IP address. I encourage you to do that because, like, when the internet got fried here, there's no internet coming to the building, but just like this, I'll put it this way. How many of y'all remember, before GPS, I used to drive around with an actual almanac, an atlas, in the back seat. So I used to drive around like that. So let me ask you a question. If you were driving around with an atlas and you forgot your atlas, do you still know how to get where you need to go on occasion? If you've done that trip multiple times. So the same way, the internet provides an IP address to your stuff inside the house. If the internet goes down, this doesn't know how to talk to anything. But if I set this address to 123 Jump Street and I set the camera to 456 Jump Street, they will still know how to talk to each other whether the internet is placed or not. So I always set up, even the cameras here, I don't want to do it because it's going to shut the stream down right now. If the internet's coming in, hey, it's great, everything's worked. But if I have all this stuff set to a static IP address, if the internet goes down, all of this stuff will still work. So yes, you can do that. You do not need internet to make this work. As long as it's connected to a switch and they're still connected physically, then yes, it will work. Or even if you're on Wi-Fi and you got some stuff like that, if the Wi-Fi is still handing out IP addresses, or if this is set to an address, that's set to an address, they can still talk to each other. Yes, ma'am. I'm back.
Thank you so much for doing this conference. I want to let you know that. Question I have is with microphones. In a sanctuary or in any building, I guess it depends on the how big it is, whether the acoustics is better or not. But say, for example, in this sanctuary, could a choir do a recording in this sanctuary? And the reason I'm asking that is because I guess it depends on whether you have the same mics all across the sanctuary or you have maybe have different ones, but they pick up different. And of course, individuals don't put their mouth to the phone, to the microphone like they're supposed to sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I'm listening for that clear thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I get it's like cloudy or something is overcast on it. So I guess my question is, do you have to have a specific microphone and a specific system to do like a recording?
So I'm a draft Dominic to be up here with me. And I don't even know if you're gonna know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask you, and if you can piggyback off me on what this. So first, no, you don't need a specific mic.
Okay.
You don't need specific equipment. You need specific training. Somebody will try and tell you that you need this equipment and this. You don't need that, because did they do recordings back in the day without the stuff? Yes, they did. So it's possible. Now, to your question, yes, the issue with the sound is just like anybody else. I remember somebody told me this, and Dominic, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to interview this. On average, do most churches live stream audio sounds horrible?
Absolutely.
Why do you think that most churches live stream audio sounds bad?
Well, it could be the way that it's connected, the mixer, to whatever your source, your input source is, or they try to match the house sound to make the same mix as your live stream sound, which sometimes in some cases don't work. So, you know, I know, example for me, I run media and sound for 2 churches on Sundays, as well as play. So one mixer, I have to come out of the mix of a powered mixer where I have no power to make my own live stream mix. So I have to depend on the house sound to get what I need. But it still works. I'm only using 2 mics. So I can kind of get away with, you know, dealing with, you know, just 2 mics. Well, at the second church I play at, they have a digital mixer, and so we have 15 mics, which includes your, you know, the organ is mic, drums are mic, praise team have their own mic. I have lapel mics if I need it for pre-recording or podcast interviews that me and my dad does, and then his mic, but that's a totally different mix. And I wish I could take a picture of the 2. My faders are nowhere near what my live stream faders are. My live stream faders are to the roof, but it's clear, and that's the main thing.
Now, let me jump in on other thing that I agree with everything that Dominic is saying, but the one thing I think is missing is he's skilled in what he's doing. Now, the reason I say that, and this goes back to the very first thing that we talked about in your question, how many people are trying to perfect their craft? Now, I'm about ready to steal some of my topic that's talking in later, and I've said this to a bunch of y'all. The issue is, how do you get better? I'm not a sports person. I can't stand sports. That's just me personally. I like martial arts, but football, basketball, no. But what do they do after the game? They review the tapes. How many of churches, not just media, with leadership, is watching the tape on what needs to be improved? As in, wait a minute, the audio sounds like trash. Or is it that most of the time they just hit the live stream and I'm like, I don't care how it is. My duty is done at church. Boom, I'm going home. And I think the issue is kind of like with that. I believe Dominic knows that because he is meticulous and he wants to perfect his craft. And the idea is, again, yeah, I have an ear as a musician, but you can teach people, like my concept, and we talked about it before, when you listen to the live stream, it's, okay, say you got a choir that has a solo, they have a background, they got a bass, guitar, horn player, piano, organ, drums. Bare minimum. It should be, the soloist should be over all of them. Right under that, like a whisper right under that, is the choir. Right under that is the piano. Right under that is the organ. Then it's the bass. Then it's the kick or the drums, not the cymbals. And then in between the bass and the drums, if you have any extra instruments, they are there. So like when I teach choir, I'll have, and I don't pick on the choir even though I could, I can hear when somebody is off. Because you have 3, you're listening for a soprano, alto, and tenor. Somebody sticks out. So if you got a choir of 20 people, and this goes into your live stream, if you have a choir of 20 people, I should only hear 3 voices. Soprano, alto, and tenor. If somebody is outside, that makes it really obvious to me who's off. That's the same way somebody needs to be listening to the live stream. People listen in the media for the live stream. Do I hear noise? It's good. They're not listening. Who's dominating over everybody else? Can I hear this person clearly? They're not listening for that. They're just listening, is noise being produced? But how do we perfect our craft is we study other people's live streams. Forget studying people's live streams. I say this the same way. All of us have been trained how to do what we're doing in media ministry our entire lives, but we're overthinking it. Has anybody watched a movie? Has anybody ever watched television? I haven't seen the new Superman, so don't spoil it. But I'll use Avengers Endgame. I'll use Avengers. Thankfully, I didn't hear. But look, I'll use Avengers Endgame. No, how about this? Does everybody remember the movie Saving Private Ryan? Let me ask you this one question. This shows you perfecting a craft. Do you remember the music? Now, do you remember the music as a character in the movie that complemented what was going on? Or was it, oh, this music is just so dominating that I can't pay attention to what's going on? Movies have it built to where you can clearly hear who's talking. You can hear the effects. The effects are not drowning anybody out. You got noise going on. You got music. It's built in that hierarchy that we are used to hearing. We need to take that same hearing that we hear on TV and apply it what we have in here. Is Sister Susie sounding real sweet today, as in I'm being sarcastic? Yeah, she is. We got to bring her down. And just like Dominic was saying, inside of here, we got bodies, we got carpet, we got chairs, we got wall. It sounds really sweet in here because her sour notes are bouncing off, and I don't hear nothing by the time it gets to me. But our live stream, she's in a straight mic, and it's burning a hole in my ear. So that's where somebody has to listen. I need to bring that down because your video can be trash, and people will still watch it. Your audio is horrible. It is offensive, and no one's gonna stay if the ear. If you're streaming at 240p, I'll still watch it if I can hear a good word. But if in the Lord, nah. Don't
go to my church.
Man. So again, I don't. We're trying to give you a lot more. I don't want to get too long-winded on some stuff, but EEMC Entertainment says, does the license issue apply to CCLI? CCLI is a type of license. But again, CCLI, back to what we talked about before, like Antioch, we have a CCLI license, but there are multiple licenses. CCLI license just allows you, it's a performance license. There's a display license. There's a license just for you to do certain songs. Then there's a license for you to present the words on the stream. That's another license. That's why I went back to the churches weren't at the table, because that's foolishness. Like, I can perform your song, but I can't put the words up. But like I said, I just think we need to do, the reason why I know we talk about the tech that we do is we're not behind the 8 ball. I remember saying this a long time ago, and Elder Rob, go ahead and grab a mic for me, please, sir. I remember saying this a long time ago before COVID. I'm admonishing all of us to get more involved, because if you look at it now, with the change that happened at Facebook in February, a day is going to come where the church has to pay to live stream. You need to establish your platform and multiple streams of ministry, multiple platforms, Facebook, YouTube. Start learning how to set up own cast, your own stuff. Sooner or later, mark my words, it's going to come to a point where it's going to be, oh, you have to have this many subscribers for your church to live stream. You need to start paying this amount to live stream. Oh, you're taking up storage, so we're going to start charging you for this. Facebook, if y'all didn't know, February, Facebook passed a rule that if you live stream in Facebook, everything that you post is going to be deleted after 30 days. which right there shows you can't use it for storage. You need to do your own NAS. You need to have some other type of stuff to archive your services. Because back in the day, I know my dad, he's got a bunch of them still at home. He had audio cassettes of every service. Then he went to CDs. And we have to learn to archive our stuff because the time is going to come to where, and I'm not trying to get super biblical with this. I'll let Elder Rob get to this. It's going to get a point to where the message of Jesus Christ is going to be stifled. And y'all know that to be true. And it's not even from looking at the times. Biblically, it says it's going to happen that way. So we need to be prepared. How are we going to share? Because, again, all these platforms were set up because, honestly, we as Christians did not do what we were supposed to do. God's plan is going to happen whether we do it or not. He's going to use somebody else. So that's why I believe he blessed Mark Zuckerberg and all these other people to put these platforms in place. All we got to do is jump on it. But now I believe just like with COVID, after COVID happened, this window of time, we have to be prepared to do. What was the parable? It's like, hey, we need to store up because we have 4 good years and we're going to have some 4 bad years coming up. And we need to be prepared. Because y'all remember when we didn't buy nothing, what happened at Best Buy? That same capture card that was $50 was now going for $250 because everybody was running trying to get stuff. This is the season to get prepared for it. And I'm talking way too long. I appreciate it, sir. All right. Any other questions while I scan on? Wait, actually, I'm sorry. John Cook was saying, AJ, CCLI has a streaming license, and we just talked about that is supposed to let you play the songs on the approved list on your stream. You will still need to fight copyright claims even with the CCLI license. So, like I like to say, we have to abide by the rules of whoever sandbox we are in. Since we don't own the sandbox, YouTube and Facebook, we have to play by their rules. But realize there are people in the sandbox with us who are not playing by the rules. So we can't, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 lefts make a right. But the idea is we're supposed to be a peculiar people. We can't play by the same rules that everybody else is not following. We need to. So that means, well, I made a video about this. So please, I'm eyeballing all of y'all. Please make sure y'all don't do this. I do not own the rights of the music being played. We've already talked about that. We got Chuck, who is a DJ, that says that is hogwash. That doesn't do anything. And I've heard people, well, the church down the street does it and nobody comes after them. Okay, well, that person got away with murder. Does that mean that it's okay for you to do it too? Well, no, that's different. It's the same. If you know we're not supposed to do it, just because somebody else gets away with it doesn't mean that you should do it. But Dwayne Franklin, quick question. A lot of churches put up a window on the right to use music on. I didn't even read that. That was the comment that we were just talking about. He said churches put up that I don't own the right. No, that's wrong. Don't put that up. That's a sign of guilt. We do not own the rights of music that we're using that we're not supposed to use. That's what that statement is saying. That's why you don't put it up. Anybody got a question inside here? Yes.
Does that apply for royalty-free music? Like there's no words, it's just music. Does that apply for the same thing?
You have to be careful. The question was, does the license stuff apply to royalty-free music? Yes and no. And that's going to be a lot of my answers to this because, like, I used to use a lot of music from Scott Holmes. It was a guy out in the UK, and he released his music saying that anybody can use it. Remember when I was saying that we're playing in a sand pit, but then other people ain't playing by the rules? He gave his music out for free, but what other people did is download his music and then claim that they owned it. And then they started hitting people with it. So he had to fight to get that. Like, I had somebody hit me, and they said, oh, this song AJ, we're hitting you with a copyright because it's ours. I was like, that's strange because these 7 songs are registered under my name under the Library of Congress. So it's music that I wrote when I was in college. So I don't know how you own that. Oh, we dropped the claim because you didn't own it. I mean, but that's the whole thing. You need to know, how was I able to confidently do that? Because I know I didn't steal it. It was mine. It was licensed in my name. And I already know that you were giving me some bunk. From there. Yes, Phyllis.
When YouTube do come and say you have a copyright claim, but it's not, it's nothing against your channel,
Mm-hmm.
is that the same or is that different?
All right, so
They
the
say
question
something-
was, when you get a claim from music, now I'm
A copyright strike.
okay.
But it's not, and then they say next to it, this will not go against your channel.
Okay. So the question was, now let me redefine that. On YouTube, you have a copyright claim and you have a copyright strike. Copyright strikes are bad. You get 3 of them, you're done. As in done forever. If you get 3 copyright strikes, you are not allowed, that channel is going to go away and you are not allowed to make any more channels. They will instantly shut your channel down if you make any more. That's a strike. A copyright claim is saying, oh, you use my stuff, but I'm going to allow you to keep using it, but if any money was made, it comes to me. Now, that's what a lot of these bad actors are doing. They're claiming that stuff because the idea is like, oh, we got a bunch of stupid, ignorant church folks that don't know nothing. So I'm going to say that I own all the songs because if I can hit 100,000 churches for $1, I just made $100,000. That's what they're trying to do. And that's why they can claim all day long. Now, be mindful, claims don't hurt your channel, but you don't want to have a lot of claims because you'll build up a history of being like, oh, these people that be trying to take some stuff that ain't theirs. Strikes, like I'll put it this way, I had to put a strike on somebody. There was a Haitian channel that was, I'm going to talk about this later, so I'm not going to go into full vitriol right now and anger with this. But he was taking my channel word for word and putting it in another language, but it was still my content. So I had to put a copyright claim, like, no, you can't use, just like the song, you can't use that because that's mine. You can get inspiration from it, but it's just like in school. It's just like in school. It's called plagiarism. You can't just take verbatim somebody's stuff or, oh, I'm going to steal this and I'm just going to change the language. Like, okay, I don't care if you did it in French. It's still mine. Yes, sir.
In case I missed it, so please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
So how can a church copyright everything that they do on
The
their own?
The instant you upload something to YouTube, you have a YouTube copyright of that under your name.
What about other social medias? Is it just YouTube or?
Facebook is just behind the curve on their claim system and stuff like that. YouTube is the more stringent, and they got it more in place because so many more people use it. Facebook, honestly, they got into the whole thing because of COVID. It was an opportunity for them. They're, as you can see, they're not built for the video. That's why they're chopping off live streams, because personally, people are just uploading some of the dumbest stuff imaginable. They're like, hey, look, I have a mouse. And then it's like, now that's taking up hard drive space, and now you got billions of people are doing that. But anyway, I'm rambling on. YouTube, the instant you upload something, that is owned by you. And once you get to 1,000 subscribers, the stuff opens up to where you are able to do claims on people. The system will analyze your stuff and put it out. So, like, this is how bad the YouTube system is. I don't know, back in the day before COVID, I put out a whole bunch of timers, just free timers that you can use to start your live stream from 1 minute, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. That's all it was. I get constantly videos saying people are using your stuff because it was just a timer. That's all. That's how good it wasn't mine. It was just a timer. Mine has It's in a certain font. It has green background. That's what mine is. They had a different font that just looked the same. So they're like, oh, they're using your stuff. So if they're that intricate, once you get to that level, they'll be able to do it. So I don't know if y'all seen a bunch of motivational YouTube channels like with TD Jakes, and they do a mashup of all this other stuff. Oh, those channels get hit all the time. They'll take the video down and put it right back up. That'll do it. But I don't mean to ramble on too long. So, folks, if y'all are in the 4ME conference page, I am looking at the chat. I am looking on here as well, too. So, Pete, well, actually, Ryan has a comment. He says, as a sound, let me bring this up, everybody on the live stream. As a sound engineer, specific mics are important for a choir, but used choir mics, e.g. condenser mics, standard dynamic mics are fine as well. So, giving some specs on that as well, too. So, if there was any type, you would look towards that. Yes, sir. I think my daughter went to the restroom.
How you doing?
Good.
Charles Edwards from Fredericksburg area. Can you explain the NDI interface, as opposed to HDMI? So, we're HDMI right now, and I know there's SDI, and I know there's NDI. And so as we're looking at new encoders and going up, the ladder in levels of our production, we're looking at NDI as a possibility, but then I heard there's a license key, and I don't understand, why in the world you would need a license for an interface. But can you explain that and why it's necessary?
Sure. So this is a BZB Gear camera, PTZ camera that I got here. I'm just bringing it so you can see on the camera here. So for those who don't know, NDI is a protocol that Tech Deck, I forgot the company, Teradek, they made that protocol. So that's there. So the license is because they're like, we own it, so you got to pay us to use it. So NDI is just a protocol to send video and audio over your network. That's all that is. Now, it's very good on how it compresses everything and sends it over. So instead of having like this big white cable that I have that's running in the ceiling and going back, NDI would actually have a player and send it over your Wi-Fi or your network, and you don't need wires. Me personally, and normally you don't have to pay for that license. The product, the license is baked into the product that you buy. Now, if you get, like, I know some AVCAN cameras, some Famacos, and the Panasonic that I reviewed, they don't include it, and then you do have to pay for the license for that device. Typically, the license from them is like $99, $100, and it's locked to that one device. Yes, but it's only on that one device. So personally, I set up NDI here in Antioch, but I'm old school, meaning that just like we talked about before, when we talked about IP addresses and stuff like that, NDI doesn't work that way. NDI, you need an active network for it to work. So if your stuff goes down, your NDI might not work. So personally, me, I use NDI here at Antioch just to send the timer over for our countdown for the live stream. I don't do it with video and stuff because I'm confident in using it myself, as in if something happens, I can fix it. Until everybody understands the complexities of it, I don't teach anybody to use that unless they want to know, AJ, if the NDI goes down, okay, I need you to go to the router. I need you to reset this. I need you to change the IP address. Most of them, I don't want, if they are like, oh, that's too much, then that's why I don't install NDI. But NDI is a very good backup protocol. And some people, as long as you can set up your network, like, for example, here, the media is on a completely different network than everybody else. so that if anybody taxes the network here, and I know Ms. Lisa, I was telling y'all about the same way, if somebody taxes the network here, it will never affect the media. If you don't have the ability to do that, somebody can be in your sanctuary live streaming, and it tanks your whole network, and now your NDI is going down because it needs traffic to go back and forth. And if somebody is eating up all the traffic, your video or whatever your cameras are not going to be able to get through, or it'll be slow, it'll be sluggish. So it is good if you know the infrastructure that goes behind it and you can maintain it if something happens. And normally from a price standpoint, it's normally built in. So like in this one, like on here it says compatible with NDI, and it's NewTek, excuse me, I said the wrong name. NewTek is the company that made that, and they make Teradeks with that. So like on here on the box, it has NDI because the license was built into it and it's with the price. All right. Excuse me? Latency is really about the traffic that's going to be on the network. So if too much stuff is on there, that's what's going to slow it down. So like I had one church in Maryland, some installer gave them set up a 4K NDI camera, and it was a great camera. The only problem is the dude didn't know what he was doing, because he had, and again, sorry for me to get nerdy with y'all real quick. So y'all, if y'all don't know the tech, let me put it this way. The church had a straw, just use that as an example, a drinking straw. That was their network. But the way they set the camera up, it was expecting to send 100 gallons a second down a straw. So it completely wrecked their network. So that one camera was sending way too much data that the network couldn't handle, to where it just flooded the whole thing. So internet wasn't working. Nothing else would work when that camera was on, because the person who installed it didn't know the infrastructure that's needed to support it. So he was sending 4K footage at 35 megabits a second down the line, and it only had a 10 megabit network. So it killed the whole thing. So, yeah, you're welcome. Pete wants to know, what are the best specs for stream on a mini PC? Get a Ryzen 5. You're looking for well, I don't want to say I'm just a fan of AMD. You're looking for a CPU that has 8 cores or more, because they're getting really cheap. You can get a mini PC for like $300. Memory does not matter that much for streaming. It's normally the horsepower. Get a CPU with 8 cores or more. Get one that has a GPU built into it, and then if you have to, don't do anything less than 16 gigs of memory. Go for 32 if you have it, and that's more than enough. You can get a system like that for around $250 to $800. Mr. Clarence is supposed to be here, but some stuff came up, so I'm glad to see you there. Mr. Clarence wants to know, using the unified display cast, which we didn't get a chance to set up here, using the Unified Cast Lite or Pro, do you find documentation adequate to for ease of use? No. Unfortunately, a lot of the technical stuff, how many, I know Elder Rob is in this, how many people have a technical background? A bunch of y'all. Please, I want you to call me out if I'm wrong for this. Is it not true that we literally, technical people, avoid trying to tell everybody about the technical aspects of something? Why is that? Anybody? Say that again for me, please.
It's back to what you were saying earlier. As a technical person, you're always trying to break technical ideas down to make them more palatable for our audiences. And usually people's eyes glaze over and they fall asleep, and so on and so forth.
Now, that is correct. I'm waiting for another answer that most people won't say.
It's to keep all the knowledge to themselves. It's to keep the technical knowledge to themselves, to make them feel needed. I learned a long time ago, let people know, show people what to do, and then they ain't gonna bug you all day. Teach a person to fish.
Then he can. Exactly. And I mean, I think, and I think like, and I know Monty is the same way. We teach, I'm not going to put these words in your mouth because I've said this to people. My whole goal is to teach you so that you don't have to call me back. You know, I mean, my mindset is, I mean, this is where I've been told by our Facebook group for me to stop saying this, so I promise this will be the last time I say it. Not really true. I consider myself a bad business person because I don't follow the typical business stuff. Business stuff is like, I'm only going to tell you this, but I'm not going to tell you what the other problem is because I need you to call me back so I can get another payday from you. My mindset is like, I'm going to use Mr. James. I got his stuff straight. I want to know that your stuff is straight so that I don't have to go back down to Florida. I want you to be empowered so that it's your equipment. If you have something that is about ready to burn down, yes, I will help you all day long, but I want you to realize this is not a skill that only the elite need to do. Right. Just because you have one camera does not mean that you can't have a reach with your ministry as big as any big pastor out there. When COVID happened, the playing field is level. It is level for the people who want to actually do something. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Miss Lisa.
Bibles for worship tools.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get different versions? How do we download different versions? Because sometimes we have preachers that come and we don't have the version, and I don't know where I can go to download it.
All right, so the question is for those, and I know Dominic is doing a class on this one, Worship Tools Presenter. That is a free presentation software that I normally recommend churches to get started with if they don't have anything. Her question is, where do you get Bibles? Most of the time when I find them online, I have to dig deep to find them. I put them on AJaytheCEO.com, and I used to do them for free, but then a bunch of people started spamming my website, so I put them up just as $1 for you to get, just for the service of storing it. But most of the time, you just have to search online. I was writing a program that would translate some Bibles, but then I was told that some people have a license on the Bible, which just is crazy to me. Yeah, it's different. I mean, there are different translations that you have to have permission to use. But for the most part, I've found a bunch of them. I have, I think, about like 30 of them, and then in 5 different languages. You just go to AJaytheCEO.com and get them there. And when I find new ones that don't have a licensed stuff, I put them on there. But honestly, it's really just going online and just searching for Bible in XML format, and that's mainly it. Philip Paul, is this live stream will be able to view after the stream? Yes, it will. It'll be on YouTube, and it will be in the conference as well after the fact. Yanni. Reverend Lightfoot. Like, okay, Mom's video has a nice comment as well. They said, I know a few churches that don't monitor their live stream audio during service. That is a very big mistake. Good practice, don't listen inside the house. Pull out your phone, pull out your tablet, put an earbud in that's pulling directly, that cancels out anything you hear in the house and hear it clearly from there. Or have somebody off site, step outside for a second, go in another part of the building and hear it clearly. I had somebody, all right, they ain't here. I had somebody that was fussing at me saying, AJ, the live stream sound is horrible. The sound sounds horrible. And I had 3 people, Calvin, Rakira, Taurus, and a bunch of us listen to it on our phones. It sounds perfectly fine. It's not loud. It's not loud. I step outside. I'm of the mindset, unless 100% of the people on the live stream are complaining about the sound, ignore everybody else. She was mad. I gave it away to gender. She was mad. And I'm like, I just ignored it. She came to me 3 days later. AJ, I'm sorry. My phone was connected to my Bluetooth in my purse. So she had it cranked up, and she could barely hear it because it was playing in her headpiece in her purse. If everyone was having a problem, then that's something you got to pay attention to. If it's a one-off or if it's not 100%, it's the person's device. It is not y'all's responsibility. Mom's video has another one on here as well too. Okay, I see a bunch of comments in here. So anybody on the 4ME site, please start it with a Q so that jumps out, because I'm scrolling through everything and that's what helps it jump out for me. Mom's video has a comment of asking, what is the difference between running sound from the aux out rather than from a bus out? It's just terminology. Some people call it well, it's not a matrix. Let me be careful. Matrix is something different. Some people call it a aux out. Some people call it a bus. Somebody call it a bus send. All of it is the same. It's just a different terminology. That's all it is. So like that goes back to the technology. People try and make it. I'm doing something, y'all, that I told y'all not to do, but there's a reason to do this. So I couldn't say that on here. So if you ever knew, that's where the name came from. Okay.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
During live streaming, is there, I know you're not a lawyer and all that, what considerations are there for the person's sermon that you're live streaming? Because there was an incident where a young lady took T.D. Jakes' sermon word for word or something and redid it. So for the church or any live streaming, what considerations are there?
Well, I know there was, I think the first Android tablet that was ever made, it said something that thou shalt not steal. I think that was written on the tablet. I think Moses got that first Android one. So first off, that's stealing. Point blank. Now, see, that's, he'll know, and Dominic would know this. I can't stand social media. If y'all see people do, you've seen it, where they're playing somebody else's video and they're just like this. That's stealing. That's stealing. That's what it is. Fair use is meant, the definition of fair use is if you're taking something and making something new of it, transformative, inspirational, criticizing, critiquing. That's what fair use is being used for. So if somebody is taking something word for word, they just stole it. Now, there's a difference of saying, okay, I got T.D. Jakes' sermon, and that helped me make my own version with similar concepts. But they set themselves up for failure if it's word for word. It's like, no, you stole it. You can't tell me nothing other than that. So, but if a pastor or anybody is preaching, that's their own stuff. Just like we talked about the license, once they start talking, that's actually theirs. So it's the same way. So if Pastor Paul preached something here, and I decided to take his stuff word for word and go somewhere else, I'm stealing. It's like, we just got to remember, you can't steal. You can't take something that's not yours. So I'm gonna let everybody know inside of here. I am going to go a little bit longer for everybody on the live stream, but for everybody here at the conference, the food is actually already in the multipurpose room, so y'all are free to go over there. We actually got more food than was needed, so if you reserved everything for your sandwiches and stuff like that, they are marked on the box. So, you know, you can grab that. Please just grab one. If anything is left over after that, y'all are free reign after that. So thank y'all for that. We're going to go maybe a few more minutes. Yeah, the mic is acting up here. I don't know what it is. This is when I move in a certain direction. That's what's going on here. Any other questions or anybody else? Monty, anybody, y'all want to tag out Ghost Man on second, something like that? Well, sure. I mean, actually, let me do this because we were talking about having kind of a panel type of thing. So I'm a spin this a little bit so I can get and yes, I did take my shoes off, so my apologies. My feet do not stink. Let me get Monty, Terrence. I'm gonna draft you. Why don't you come on up here? Yes, sir. And Phyllis, why don't you come on up here, please? Hey, look. See, back in the day when I did computer stuff, I had a shirt when I went home that says, "No, I will not fix your computer." Yeah. All right, who got all? Okay, we got one mic here. Yeah, we're gonna grab some there from you. Yeah, and I think there's another mic. You got Yanni, bring that other mic for me, please. Turn that on. All right, I'm gonna get one more chair for y'all. Now, I'm gonna do a little improv here. And y'all know this is going to give y'all kind of a dose of reality of our round table if you've never been to one of our round tables. Oh, we'll just widen out the camera. You good? No, I already widened it out. You good? I got the control. We got the power right there. All right, and who else want to jump up here? See, Miss Lisa, I was getting ready to ask you to come up there. I was getting ready to ask you. All right, so I'm going to ask some folks some questions, and I'll be around to hand out to anybody who wants to join in. So when I normally start a round table, I say that your denominations, your titles, everything is left at the door. So that's the same way it is right now. So we need to be open to critiques and criticisms because that's where we're at right now. So the question for y'all in the front. If you had one thing that you could tell that annoys the daylights out of you when it comes to media ministry, what is it? Well, no, the reason I do this is because in our round table, it's meant where we talk about the good and the bad and the ugly about media ministry. And the reason we set that up is because a lot of us that are in media ministry, we're expected to split the Red Sea while swimming in it at the same time. And it needs to have been done yesterday. And this is, first, all of us have a like mind, a like spirit. And it gives encouragement to hear somebody else going through the same stuff and how they're dealing with it. And that's what it's about. This is about not just giving you knowledge. It's about encouraging you and realizing, yes, I'm going through hell right now. But it's comfortable to know when I look to the left and right, there's somebody going through it at the same time with me. And I'm just not out here by myself. And knowing that people are fighting the same battle that you are for the same purpose that you are. So I stalled. So there you go. Any of y'all can start.
For someone to come with information at the last minute for you to put into the computer.
Yes, Lord. All right.
My biggest pet peeve is that this was a ministry that everyone has the opportunity to join, but those that step up with the talent and actually perform don't receive enough encouragement because we're behind the scenes unless something goes wrong.
All right. Anybody else?
I would say criticism and unappreciation. Thinking that people are just pushing buttons just to be pushing buttons and not treating media as ministry, but looking at somebody that's doing a job when actually the persons that are behind the scenes are working just as hard as the people in front of the scenes that are giving the word.
If not harder.
If not harder. Can I get an amen?
Amen. All right, Monty, what you got?
Being formally educated in a skill and then being told that doesn't work.
Man, Monty, you may have to walk off camera on that one.
You can drop that mic, sir. Just drop it.
So earlier you had brought up that question, I believe about getting the content, and so one of the things I was talking about during our session was I'm still gonna get it anyway. I know this works. I'm gonna get it now, and then I'll ask for forgiveness later. Going through formal education, I know when you were answering the NDI question, I'm certified, computer network certified. I know how this works in a real government position as well. So when I bring it into ministry, I'm not just bringing this just to be bringing it. I know how this works, why it's gonna work, why it's not gonna work. But you can't just shoot it down and say, hey, do this, but then you shoot it right down. So it's defining the goals, and let's actually have the right people in place to do it. And if you said I'm the person in place to lead this ministry, I'm not just throwing it out there just for no reason. I'm here to do what you asked.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Media ministry has become...
I'm going to switch you out.
Media ministry has become inclusive, meaning that only certain people can do it or have been chosen to do it. It's a ministry. It's volunteer, but it's become to the point now where it's so inclusive that people don't want to mess with it because they don't feel like they fit in. And we have to be careful about that. Whosoever will, let them come. But when you start putting inclusivity into that, then the people that are trying to come are not going to come, or they're not going to feel like they fit in.
Now, the addition that I would make to that, I'm going to flip that on its head. My pet peeve when it comes to media ministry is I got a whole bunch of bodies in there that are wasting my time. I got volunteers that don't have an interest in media ministry at all, and they do the bare minimums just to get by, and they're in the way of how ministry can go forward. It's like, well, I've been here for years, and yeah, you've been horrible all them years you've been here. Get out the way. You know, like, I mean, if your mindset, and this is just in life, if you're, I say this to choirs and everything, if you are at the same skill set level that you were this year that you were last year, you ain't growing. You're going backwards. And if you have no interest, like one of my favorite quotes was, everybody is ignorant just in different subjects. Ignorance is just a lack of knowledge. My second part of that is you're stupid if you know that you're ignorant in a subject, but you refuse to get knowledge to educate yourself. Now you're stupid. And I know that sounds harsh, but if all of this stuff, all of y'all know in media ministry, it's changing hourly. So to sit back and to be like, well, this is how we always did it. Well, OBS is up this last week. OBS is updated 3 times this week. And the exit button went away, then the exit button came back at the bottom, then it went away, then you had to go to the NDI plugin, and then they went to distro AV, and they got to go to, it's like to sit back and it's like, well, I don't know that. Well, that's why you need to get out the way. And if you're not going to try and dive into that, this might not be the ministry for you. Because I always tell our media ministries, we're not the tip of the sword. We're where the sword and the air meet. We're in front of that even further. And going to what everybody says, that's why it sounds cliched at the end of the live streams that I'm always telling people, hey, I appreciate you. We need you. Because most of the time, the media ministry don't get that. That's why we try to put on events. We try to put on vacations. We try to do this. I mean, look, if I was, I don't want to speak for Monty. If I feel, and I'm going to speak on behalf, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. If me and Monty both had 20 million subscribers and we were bringing in $250,000 a month, I would probably be like, yo, Monty, look, why don't we sponsor a media ministry stuff and we the first 1,000 people we pay for or something like that. I would be down for something like that because it's one of those things that we don't get a chance. And like me, I've done a video before. I'm spiritually starved because I don't get a chance. And this is another thing for media ministry. We're serving the entire time. When do we get a chance to get poured into? Because it's like, hey, do this, put this slide up, do this, fix the camera, fix the internet, fix this. Did anybody care about, and keep your mouth shut, AJ. Well, I mean, some of y'all know and some of y'all don't know. Like right now, I'm compartmentalizing some stuff that happened in my family this past week. But just like with media, y'all have life going on. We have to shut that down temporarily because the needs of the many are more important than just the one. Yeah, I could sit down and break down and want to cry because of stuff that's going on in family, but I was like, I have a responsibility right now to make sure y'all get fed. When that's over, that's when I can do something. But from a media ministry standpoint, when do we have a chance to be like, hey, Pastor, can we not live stream this Sunday and bring the entire media ministry down and you minister to them? I mean, because it's like we're on the front lines. And the reason why people don't do that is because the consensus is media ministry is not ministry. We're just media. We're media staff. But I'll put it this way. The average live stream that any church does, you will have more people watch that live stream that will possibly come into that building for the entire year. That's what the power of the live stream that you have. It's a ministry. And until people understand that, that's when the media is neglected. And we're just glorified button pushers and joystick users.
Can I just say,
Yes, ma'am.
Spring Trap, they said people being on the phone while in the booth. That's another pet peeve. Oh. People being on their phones when they're supposed to be doing the media for the live stream, and they're on their phones. You can't do both. And I'm not talking about looking at the live stream. I'm talking about other things. Looking
Playing
at other
games.
people. Playing games, yes.
Yep. Now yes, ma'am.
I just want to add to that because sometimes if there's an issue happening on live stream, we also use dial pad where people can call in and listen. And so if we forget to turn on dial pad, I might get a text from somebody and say, hey, is dial pad on? That's one of those 1, 2, 3, 3, one of those steps that, sometimes we just may forget. And so I'm looking at my phone, and then my husband is ministering, and he'll be asking me something that we need to do, but I understand what you're saying if you're just playing on your phone,
Right.
But I have mine actually involved in the broadcast because if there's something going on, I'll tell people to text me if there's something that's not happening that should be happening, so that I'm a go-to person or a point person,
Right.
so that everything can try to run smoothly. So.
Well, unlike you and me, I have to have my phone with me too because I have an app that's downloaded. And on that app, people on the live stream, they can scan and then they can have a prayer request come straight over. So that's what I do. So I have to have my phone. But what I was talking about is the younger people that's in the media, the volunteers that you have, and they're playing games, or they looking at a football game or something like that.
We don't have those volunteers yet.
That's what I'm saying. The adults be doing that stuff as well too. I mean, and again, like I've said this before, and I'm gonna give an opportunity for this, and we're gonna be shutting down here in a little bit. But I mean, I don't want to make this so much bigger than it is, but I just know this to be true. You do not know what the life is on the other side of that lens. You don't know what they're going through. So when I get after the media ministry, it's not that I'm trying to be a dictator or nothing like that. I'm like, I know what it's like when I go hunting, looking for something. I'm in a low moment, and I need to find something. And I stumble across Above Inspiration is another channel I watch all the time that does a compilation of ministry and stuff like that. I need something that's going to get me through. And if I am like, I know I'm making this over the top, but somebody's like, man, I'm about ready to give up on life, and I'm just going to give this one last try. And they pull out their phone, and it's a camera pointing at an empty seat. It's somebody that don't want to be forceful, respectful, but forceful with the pastor who wants to come down and not use the mic. I don't need a microphone. I got a loud voice. Your voice isn't loud enough to get digitized automatically. Yeah. I mean, you don't know what anybody says could be the thing that saves them, stops them from doing something. That's why it's important what we do. And that's why this is not just a skills, it's to have the mindset to go when you go back and you can have a valid point when somebody says, we don't need secondary cameras. Yes, you do. Well, we don't need to be fancy. It's not about being fancy. Do you know how much difference it is for me to sit and have a wide shot like it is right now, or you're able to get a camera so I can see who's talking? And it's like, wait a minute, I can see their expression. I can see, it says where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. I can see that on their face. It says a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 1,000,000. I can name songs right now that will get me emotional from hearing the song. Or I can remember the scene in Schindler's List where it was in black and white, but the little girl had the coat in red. That does something to you. If movies can do that, why can't hearing the message of Jesus Christ or seeing somebody give their testimony, you don't know what that's going to do to somebody else. That's why the camera's important. It's not just for flash, it's for ministry. That's why we get to the point, I'm not asking for this stuff just to get the stuff. Monty's not buying all the cameras just to flex on look at my cameras. No, he's doing his ministry and being effective with it. That's what it's all about.
Can I add to
Yes,
that?
sir.
Just by a show of hands, how many actually operate the media in your church? Okay, see a lot of people. Or if, and I'll just bring it in a little bit, you do it or you have done it. That's just about everybody in here, right? And I admonish those online to comment too. And I just want to admonish you and praise you right now, because when people see the media and they see the work ethic behind what's being projected, that's the front porch. And I'm digging into what I'm going to be talking about, marketing. But your media ministry is the front porch. People come to your front porch to have an eye into what your ministry is doing. Now, there's some front porches that I'm not going to go on. I'll look at it from the street, but then there are some appealing front porches that get me on the front porch. And then I'm like, okay, this is nice. And then from the front porch, the message is what brings the people into the house. So what you're doing is not in vain. What you're doing, look at it as you're preparing the front porch for somebody to walk through the door. And for those online as well, remember, the media is the front porch. Might not be appreciated. People might not understand it, but continue doing what you're doing because you're prepping the people to come into the house. Whether you get the kudos or not, if nobody don't recognize you, know that God sees what you're doing. And that's all should matter.
I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
Question for each of you. Nobody mentioned communicating, because in every place you go in, the media ministry is separated from everybody else. So what are your best practices or suggestions for instance, contacting the pastor when something's going on, or somebody's not putting the mic up to the mouth, or any communication you need to have to the floor? You come out of the ministry loft, or somebody's on the floor. What suggestions do you have for that?
I'll go first with this one because we just had this issue. We were just talking about this. One suggestion, something that we've done in our church, my team all have the same shirt. We all have one color shirt, but there's one person that has a very different color shirt. That is your cue person. So we went to hand signals. So microphone needs to be up, you next, top of the head. Microphone that has to be on side, he actually has this hand, the left hand behind, or she has it behind. So there's a hand signal set up there, and your church or your facility can do it how you choose, but that person is the only person everybody in the church knows. And here's the thing, that's the reason why they're in a different color shirt. So that automatically triggers people like, wait, something's different with him or her. So they know to see that person. And since you're behind the scenes a lot of times, the presenters or the speaker, they know to contact eyes with that person or their being, so they get a signal. But it's communicating to everybody what that signal means.
And in our church, what we do is, once again, we have a media team shirt. And all the media that deal with the cameras, the sound, they wear those shirts. They also have headsets. So, I mean, especially the guys on the floor that are roaming with the cameras, you know, we have a guy in production that's saying, get that shot, get that shot, get that shot. So they're in constant communication with each other, and they're being directed as well. And once again, as the shirts, they're called out as a ministry. Now, communication works both ways. You can communicate with somebody and then they don't listen. Am I being for real today? They're half listening. So in that term, you got to have meetings. You got to meet. And they meet after church every Sunday. And I've been up in some of their meetings, but they talk about what they did right and what they need to work on. You know, pay attention. That is the big thing. Pay attention and listen.
I would say for me, I like both of their ideas, and it's already rolling in my head to, you know, consider some of these. But I have what I call my runners, and they are 11-year-olds, and, you know, it's two of them. So I'm in the back, and the other two guys are in the back. So if we need for somebody to know something, we send our runners up there. So they part of the media, but that's what we do with them. It's practical, but it works for right now.
I would like y'all answers. I mean, I heard nothing to add. Hand signals, that's my biggest thing, and keep your head up. That's one thing I teach all people that come in the ministry. I have one guy, he just loves to work the sound like this. Like, no, you gotta keep your head up. You have to see what's going on, especially in a small ministry. We're doing multiple things, so I'm constantly scanning what's going on. If I see something, I'll go try to get to it, you know, first. It's two people, we're doing a lot, so you can't be like this.
And then, and I'll add to that, as a lay person, if there's any laity people in here, if you hear something, say something. Don't just let it be crazy, because then that's a reflection of the ministry. I've got a good ear. I got a good ear, and when something's off, I'll just glance, and they'll go, oh, okay. Or if I can't hear nothing in the monitors on the stage, I'll just look up to the media and do something like this. But everybody has that ability to do that. Now, of course, you don't want somebody, you know, that is over the top about it, but you know the people you can trust. And then you can hear it yourself. And once again, we're all in this together. The Bible says we being many are what? One. So, you know, you hear something, say something.
I'm gonna double off of you real quick. Now, I got into ministry with a love of the video side, not the audio side. I've had to learn audio. So when you said hear something, I'm the heavy on the video, and our other guy, he's heavy on audio. He's a DJ by trade. That he knows audio, and so he has a listening ear for it. So he'll tell me, hey, something sounds off. I'm like, no, it don't. Sounds good to me. He's like, no, something is off. And so we lean on each other's skill sets. Like, he's obviously proficient in hearing it. And when it comes to video, I'm like, hey, the framing is not right. And he's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, I'm looking at this right now. I'm like, the framing is just off. And I will constantly look at the video side. So we lean on each other's skill set too.
Now, one thing else I'll add to this, and we'll close out with this. I like all the ideas of everybody said. One other thing that I will go back to that helps establish all of this is there need to be what's the nice way to say it? There needs to be a come to Jesus moment. Meaning that it's one thing for the media to review the tapes. You need to bring other ministries in that contribute to the mess that they can be fixed. Meaning that a ministry, I don't need the pastor to know the technical aspects of everything, but I do need him to know if you step right here, the mic is going to drop. If you step right here, you're outside of frame. When you don't talk on the mic, you look stupid because and we've lost people. I don't need you to know the technical, but I need you to know that now I know you might be the shepherd over the house, but anything digitally that leaves from this church, you're in the media's playground. And we're just trying to share the rules of engagement of what we're doing here, because we can have all the greatest tech. We can be Johnny on the spot, get all the video, the framing, the sound, and everything right. And laity, anybody else that's on this pulpit who's not a part of the media ministry, they can destroy all of it. What they talking about?
We just had a comment from Monty. He says, what is that? Vaughn Lord said, at times I'm guilty of having my head down when I'm at the audio desk.
But, that's why I think it needs to be just that we do reviews. The media needs to do reviews. As a leader, you need to be able to lead and find out when somebody this is not their proficiency. I tell people the same way. It's like if I keep having an issue with somebody, a good leader is able to, and a good coach is able to inspire and push people forward. But a good coach knows, bruh, you can't jump the hurdles. I'm not going to keep you in as a hurdler. And I'm not going to tear you down. I'm going to be like, you know what? I see that you got a whole lot of passion in what you're doing, but I think that you are gifted in a different area. Let me help you find that. Not, man, get out of the media, man. You some trash. No. It's like there are many members in the body. The toe does not tell the heart how to beat, but the heart can't do nothing without the toe. And the toe can't do nothing without the heart. You might be like, and I'll end it with this. Just because you have a skill set in technology does not mean that you have a ministry in media. Just because you got people that are very good in technology, their skill set sucks. Their people skills sucks. And it's like the same way. If you got a grouch, you're not going to let them be an usher because you're going to turn everybody off. And so in other words, and I'll leave it this one. This is a good one.
They all good.
Let's see. Man,
Need an A
flat.
Where's A flat? Where you at, man?
Now, I'm going to leave this as a good something for y'all to chew on, and we'll end this out. This says there's many members in the body, right? You do realize that somebody has to be the colon in the church.
Well.
Who deals with the trash and deals with the refuge. And sometimes it has to purge stuff. So just don't think just because we in church, like what's that video says, it's like, hey, just because I'm a Christian don't mean that you can step on me any type of way. And it's not about you being nasty, but there's sometimes we have to deal with trash. I think one issue, because we're all welcoming, we want to share the love of Jesus Christ with everybody, we tolerate stuff that would not be tolerated in the world. If you are somebody on staff at the church and you do not show up on time, you should be fired. Because you would be fired if you were in the world. You can't expect, now, most people say Christians are hypocrites, but we do the opposite. We allow foolishness that would not be tolerated outside the house. So, in other words, we do it in love, but it's like, hey, like, I'm not going to say her name, but it was somebody that had some stuff, personal stuff going on. Not bad, but it was some personal stuff, and the pastor was like, you got some life going on right now, and you're head of a ministry, I need you to sit down. Not because it's a personal attack on you. I need you to sit down because I need to step in and take stuff off your plate so you can get your stuff straight. Not an indictment, but I need you to do that. Or, hey, you are causing chaos in the music ministry. I need you to step down for a second. You're causing an issue with the trustees. You're causing an issue in the media ministry. I don't want to chase you out of the church, but I need you to sit down for a second because there must be something else that's going on. And let's, as a good shepherd, not the pastor, but if the pastor's not doing that, as a good leader in media ministry, know more about the people in your media than what their skill set is. You should be able to tell, like, wait a minute, Terrence is off today. No, wait a minute, something might be going on. That's a good leader. A good leader is not just identifying that, oh, you're good in audio and video editing. A good leader is, I can read people, and I can see what they're going, and back and forth. And I think that's about it, folks. So everybody online, thank you so much. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit the likes button, hit the subscribe, and hit that bell notification. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. We're still going to be here, folks. We're going to be taking a lunch break. Thank you so much for being involved with all this other stuff. There's still plenty of time for you to join online or in person, and I'll be looking through other stuff. Thank y'all for everybody who's participated. Let's go get some good food, folks. All right.